Incoherent response, were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought?
That's actually a test I do because I get to watch my guests in the green room and see the reaction to this. Like, wait a minute, rational thought? Is that me? I don't know. We'll find out. You better say something interesting or I'm going to pull out the big hook. Not true. Our guest today is the president of the greatest interior landscaping company in the San Francisco Bay Area. The greatest. So he's got to prove that in the show. Office Plants by Everything Grows. He's also adjunct professor at Antioch University, where he helps inspire his students to develop and apply key concepts of marketing specifically to their area of interest. He's a professional speaker, best-selling author on reducing stress in your everyday life, as he unfortunately learned the hard way that trading your health for your career is kind of a bad trade. And lastly, but certainly not least, he's a certified laughter yoga teacher who enjoys bringing laughter and joy to his community. So I can't wait to hear more from Professor Pete Alexander. Pete, how are you today?
I'm great, Doug. Thank you so much for having me on the show and for your listeners' time as well.
Yes, and thank you for laughing during the pre-roll. I always like watching, see people reaction to do that. But that's not why we're here. We're here to actually help people take the stress out of their life. And I love what you said before the show started. And we're gonna hint at this, but stick around, folks, because Pete is gonna give us one, maybe two ways to reduce your stress right now on the show in 60 seconds. He's gonna take wherever you are stress-wise. If you're not stressed, get stressed, because we're gonna de-stress you in about 60 seconds or 2 minutes or so. So we'll get to that in a minute. Before we do, I want to hear more about how you got involved with landscaping and de-stressing. I can think about a couple of things, but I want to hear from you.
Sure. So I actually purchased it was a struggling business back in 2005. And I had just been working for the second company in a row that got bought by its major competitor. And I was thinking to myself, I would really like to have a little bit more control over my future. And I had been thinking about being an entrepreneur for a while, and I had done a consulting practice for several years during the heyday of the internet back in the late 90s. And so I found this business, bought it. And in the first year that I was running it, I was just sitting to myself and thinking, oh my God, I've made the biggest mistake in the world. Yeah. And I just thought, what did I do exactly? And then after that first year, it started turning around. Oh, nice. And, it went from, basically it was losing business every year, losing value. And then I was able to get it to flatline and then started growing it. And grateful that up until COVID hit in 2020, we were growing rapidly every year, and that went through the previous recession back in when the real estate crashed, and we were the only interior landscaper to be growing based on the suppliers, what they were telling us. So so I was very grateful for that. And we also survived COVID because our business is focused on doing interior landscaping for other businesses. And if you don't have people going into the offices, they don't need plants.
Who's going to water the plants? There's no one there. They're dying.
Exactly. And they don't care. They don't care. So I mean, it was a crazy stressful time for us because we lost almost 60% of our business in 30 days. It was crazy. Yeah. Wow. And so, but what I'm very grateful about is that now that we survived that torpedo, we actually feel like we're much stronger than we ever were because we can survive pretty much anything. So
that's right.
It's a really great thing.
So the word landscape and interior normally doesn't go together. So I mean, I'm thinking like, rows of rocks with some, ficus trees growing out of it. Tell me more about the interior landscaping.
Sure. So that is we've designed that kind of interior scape or interior plants or office plants, however somebody wants to phrase it. But basically, the challenge is that plants normally don't want to grow indoors. Plants are natural outdoor materials. So when when you have a plant indoors and all of a sudden it starts to fail, if you don't know what you're supposed to do with it, it's just going
Mhm.
to end up dying. And
Yeah.
so the what we do is we not only make digital designs for offices that want to soften up their surroundings, but also the plants provide cleaner air quality
Yeah.
and have clinically been shown to be able to reduce sickness in the offices. So whether it's COVID, whether it's flu, what
Sure.
name you, the plants clarify or clean the air. And
Yeah.
so companies will bring us in. We'll do the design, we'll do the maintenance, and if any plant starts to fail for whatever reason, we take it out, we replace it, and we bring it back to our facility and we rehab it so that it gets back to being happy. And it's funny because plants, since we're taking care of them regularly, we
Uh-huh.
usually know when our customers, if somebody's done something to the plant, like for example,
Yelled
people
at it.
say,
Mhm.
well, either that or, what's a classic one is, a lot of people are drinking their coffee and they think, oh, okay, I'm going to drop the coffee into the plant because it
Oh,
likes it. Well, a little bit
yeah.
of coffee grounds is good,
Yeah.
but so often people are drinking their coffee with creamer in it.
Yeah.
Plants don't like creamer. So that's a killer. So
Yeah.
so we usually can tell if there's been something going on, but most times we're not going to call it on the customer unless it's a consistent thing where it's happening over
Right.
and over again.
I was gonna think you just like take that one plant out and put a plastic one in there. I wouldn't know it for a while, just like replace it.
No, no. The only time that we'll put we call it
Artificial.
a artificial one
Yeah.
is poinsettias during the holiday season. Because what
Yeah.
we'll do is we'll put real poinsettias in, but poinsettias are very, very finicky.
Yeah.
And by the time if it starts to fail, it's very hard to get another one. So what we
Yeah.
put into our contracts is we'll put real ones in, but if any of them start to fail, we'll
Yeah.
replace them with the artificials. And what's hilarious is
Uh-huh.
that most people don't notice the difference if you just kind of put one or
Yeah.
two artificial ones into the real ones. So
Right.
it works.
And you're thinking like, the plants are thinking like, "Ah, what's wrong with that guy? He's really not really,
Exactly.
talking much, right?" It's crazy.
Exactly.
You definitely have an affinity with nature and plants. Are you a
Mhm.
carnivore?
I am not a carnivore. I'm actually a vegetarian. So
Oh my gosh, that doesn't make any sense at all. Because you talk about plants as though, with their sentient beings, whatnot. I would think you were like, I'm not gonna eat any plants. I can just eat the, chickens or something. But no.
no, gosh, no. I want to live a long life, so that's why I'm a vegetarian. But
Uh-huh.
the I would never eat any of the plants that we maintain in offices
So
because
you're a plant racist, then is what you're really telling me here. That
yes,
you
and
only
also
eat
I don't like to poison myself either because there are some plants that are beautiful,
right?
and and we have some of our customers are assisted living facilities,
Oh, oh yeah.
and if you have so we absolutely will not put plants in areas where there might be some
Mhm.
dementia because
Yeah,
the residents don't know what they're doing, and if they start
right.
biting into some of those plants could be toxic to them.
I know that. My mom was in a memory care for a while before her end of life, and yeah, they had no
Hmm.
poinsettias. I guess is one that can be toxic,
Absolutely.
right? Oh, that's so
Absolutely.
sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's actually, and not all of them are toxic, but you never know
Mhm.
what it can cause to
Sure.
somebody,
Yeah.
reacts to that. So it's just
Yeah.
better not to have it in where people don't know any better.
Right.
So
Right. 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 Okay. So, give me the transition now from being the plant man to the laughter yoga teacher. How'd that work?
well, so what happened was I had discovered laughter yoga back in probably 2015, 2016. I
Mhm.
happened to be in downtown San Francisco and I'm walking by this park and there's this group of people that are in a big circle. And I'm thinking, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And they're doing these childlike activities, and I'm thinking this is kind of fun. And so I did a little bit more research, found out that laughter yoga has been around since the 1995, originated in India by Dr. Kataria. And I thought that would be a kind of a fun thing to bring to my community. And as busy as I was, I never got around to it until January of 2020. And I went and
Yeah.
I got certified by a master trainer,
Right.
and then scheduled my weekly laughter yoga in my community. And boom, 2 months later, guess what hits? COVID. And so we had to put it on hold.
Yeah.
But gratefully, we're back and going in there.
Good.
And for those of you who don't know what laughter yoga is, basically, there's no yoga mats involved. They call it laughter yoga because as part of the laughing, you're doing deep breathing exercises.
Okay.
And we might do some movements and stuff. So that's kind of a yoga thing too. But it's primarily 95% is just about laughing. And the secret sauce behind laughter yoga is that as intelligent as our bodies are, our bodies do not know the difference between a real hearty laugh, where let's say somebody tells us a funny joke, we see a funny movie, video, whatever it is, that just makes us laugh hysterically, and a forced laugh.
Right.
Our bodies only know that we're
I see
laughing,
that.
and then, so if the good feelings that we have whenever we have a hearty laugh, that's the positive endorphins that are dropping into our body that gives us all these health benefits. And here's the crazy thing. There's so much clinical research on here. My favorite one is by Dr. William Fry out of Stanford, who found through his clinical trials that 20 minutes of laughter yoga is similar to the benefits you get from an hour of cardio in the gym. So what I tell everybody who comes to my classes, my classes are an hour long. I say, hey, go ahead and start bragging to your friends. You've just done 3 hours in the gym.
I love it. It's that mind-body connection is so vital. I have got a quick story for you. I think you'll appreciate. One of my clients she's a cancer specialist out in Orange County. And people come to her when their primary doctor or other physician says, get your affairs in order. She says, no, we don't talk that way. We always let that for someone else to decide. Right? We're gonna treat you like you're gonna live. And so she's a big research. She tries everything with her clients. And this one guy had pretty serious cancer, and they're trying a bunch of different protocols, and some woo-woo stuff, some medical stuff. She doesn't care. It doesn't matter to her. Whatever works, right? So she's trying everything. And nothing's working. It's getting worse, this guy. He's like, I don't know. Try watching a comedy movie every day. He did double dose, 2 comedies a day. Cancer's remission, gone.
Yep. Our bodies can repair itself if you give it the right, organic medicine. It truly.
Full disclaimer: this is not a medical advice for any of you watching. Right? This is an anecdotal story on one person. So don't go give up your protocols or your chemo just for that. But it was interesting to note that, the bodies can heal themselves if you give them the right environment to do so. And it's interesting stuff.
It's true. And we'll ask, at several of the workshops, laughter yoga workshops, say at the beginning, it's like, okay, just think about how you're feeling right now, on a scale for, let's say, from 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high. And then we ask again at the end. And it's always way, way higher because just laughter it just feels good.
Yeah,
it really does.
Okay. So we'll get to your book in a second. I'm still stuck on yoga here. So what if somebody's like has a really, really crappy day? I mean, what are you doing? Are you going make fart noises with your arm? What do you do to get them to laugh if they're not in a good mood?
Yeah, that you could, if you want to do that. I could bring a remote controlled whoopee cushion if that's something. But typically what we get them started on is just some everyday thing. So a classic one is, let's say you're stuck in traffic. Nobody likes getting stuck in traffic.
Sure.
So, I have everybody picture themselves stuck in traffic, and it's like, oh, you can feel the tension growing. And then instead of yelling at the person next to you who's honking their horn or something like that, just laugh at them and just start laughing. And the crazy thing is, when you start laughing in a group setting, whether it's in person or it's better in person, but even on Zoom, it works fine. But when you start laughing, laughter is contagious.
Right.
And so you start laughing, and that, and even if it's something that is, not funny, you hear other people laughing. It's great. One of my favorite activities, though, is it's called Don't Laugh. And Don't Laugh it works great with kids, especially my kids when they were small. I love this when they were either upset, crying, or mad at something. And I'd say, okay, but remember, don't laugh. Don't laugh. And when you tell somebody not to laugh, they're going to want to laugh. And so even somebody who is, had a really crappy day and stuff, that one usually will work just to get them to laugh. And I had one person I remember who came to one class, and she obviously was dragged there by her daughter, and she absolutely. We had this one activity where it's called argument laughter, where one person does laugh instead of saying words, you laugh and you point at the other person, and the other person does something like, "Oh, I'm sorry," or "Forgive me," but not actually saying the words. You're laughing as well. And she got partnered. The angry mom got partnered with me, and she was doing all these physical activities like punching me and slapping me because she didn't want to be there. But by the end of class, she said, "I am so glad I came."
Oh, wonderful.
So it works.
Great.
It really does.
That's great. So we gotta give the audience what I promised them. There's got to be people who are stressed or going to be stressed or have been stressed, and you've got 1 or 2 remedies here to de-stress that. So let's go to the first one, the 1 minute one you mentioned. What is that?
Sure. So it's a great one because we can do this anywhere. It's called visualization. And basically, the only caveat here is if any listeners are currently driving their cars, you don't want to do that. You pull over or wait until you're at home or right before you're going into work or something. But it works. Basically, what you do is you close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And what you do is you go to a place you like to relax. Call it your happy place. Maybe it's the beach. Maybe it's a park. Maybe it's a lake. Maybe it's a backyard. Maybe it's the spa. Wherever it is, go there in your mind and take in all of your senses. So what do you feel? Do you feel the sun on your face? Maybe the sand or the grass under your feet? And what do you smell? Do you smell the fresh air? Maybe the lotion from the spa? And what do you hear? Do you hear the wind blowing through the trees? Maybe the water splashing on shore? And what do you see? Do you see the blue sky? Maybe the green of the grass or the trees? Whatever it is, take it all in and then take another deep breath in and open your eyes. Simple grounding exercise. And that can be done. And it really, if we think about it, if we're in the office, we can do it at our desk. Or if if you're in one of those open work environments, I've had people who take this and go into the bathroom, into a stall, and just do it because you're not making any noise, but you're just grounding yourself. And it's so powerful because basically, if we can find an activity that reduces our stress and only takes a minute or so per day, if we can get regular habit of doing it on a daily basis, the compound benefits over time will be absolutely enormous. But you have to just start because it's not going to do you any good if you just occasionally do it once in a blue moon. It has to be a regular habit.
Yeah. It sounds so effective. I mean, I didn't close my eyes because I didn't want the audience how to see us both sleeping. But I understand the difference between reacting to your circumstances and leading with intention. That's probably what you're saying. Listen, if you're stressed, you can control that by just setting that environment, circumstance aside and going, to your happy place. It makes total sense. And I challenge anybody to try that and not feel better. I mean, it might not eliminate the problem, but it'll definitely make you feel better in that moment and hopefully extend that beyond the moment, right?
Absolutely. And, we all have been in those situations where we let the stress get the better of us
Yeah.
and we end up saying or doing something that we regret
Yes.
later.
Right.
And so if we can just take a moment, to just say, okay, let's stop and collect myself for
Right.
1 minute, it makes a huge, huge difference.
I love that. I love that. So now we don't need to buy the book, right? I mean, it must be more than
Absolutely.
this.
Well, yeah, there's over 100 there's like 120 different techniques in
Yes.
there.
All right. You want to hold that book up again real quick? You have a handy there,
Sure.
don't you?
Yeah. It's called Lighten Your Day. Right.
Light,
Let's
hold it up. There we go. Let me see it. Lighten your day.
fast,
Fast,
easy, and
easy, and
effective
effective stress relief for
when you know what
stuff
happens.
happens. You can say shit on my show. I don't care. That's it's a new way. Okay, you said it down. I don't see your face. So yeah, that's a great book. The link is below here, folks. So if you're feeling stressed or you know you're going to be stressed because you're a human being, this is the book to help you with it. And if
Mhm.
the 1 minute quiet meditation thing doesn't work, we got 119 more ways to make it happen, right?
Absolutely. All these different techniques, because the word lighten, that's actually an acronym for the 7 areas of your life that create, that you get stressed from. So,
Nice.
L is your livelihood or your career.
Okay.
I is your imagination or your conscious mind, which is only 5% of your brain. But guess what? It's got your inner critic as well.
Right. Yes, it
Um,
does.
and then the G is what I call your genius, your unconscious mind, where real
Okay.
change happens. It's where your habits are.
Mm-hmm.
H is for your physical health. T
Mm-hmm.
is the time, because we're always stressed for time. E
Right.
is our environment, because our environment can have an effect on
Big
our
one. Sure.
our stress. And the last one is our network of relationships, both personally and professionally. So
Nice.
so
So
all these tips are all designed for the particular areas of life that might be stressing you out.
I can guess on the last one. If someone's stressing you out, don't be around that person.
Exactly. And one
You
of
know,
the interesting learnings is that another person can't stress you out unless you let them stress you
bingo,
out. Exactly. So
bingo.
it's amazing. And one of the key things that we can all do is, whenever we're stressed about something,
Mhm.
is if we can mentally picture what it is that we can control and what it is we can't control,
Right.
and focus as much attention on what we can control, our stress will go way, way down. Because
Yeah.
when we feel like we're more in control,
Yeah.
it's not a big a deal. But it's our human nature that we focus on all aspects of the stressful situation.
It
So
is. I spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, got a lot of Buddhist friends, and the ones that really practice it, no matter what goes on in their life, their detachment level is really great. They can still
mhm.
love, they can still, but they're detached from any outcomes. Like, okay, well, that happened. I'm like,
Yeah.
you just lost your business. Yeah, I know. Okay, next. It's really it's a good ideology. I'm not Buddhist technically, but I have friends who are, and it's just amazing to see them navigate life that way.
Yeah, it is. And the crazy thing is, for me, when I first got diagnosed with stress-induced diabetes back in
Mm,
2008, if you see pictures of me back then and you look at me now, other than a little more gray hair, I
yeah.
actually look younger today than I did 15 years ago. That's what
Wow.
stress does to us.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Great book. I can't wait to get this. I want to get a copy of that stuff. Any last words of wisdom for the readers, listeners, viewers today?
Yeah, I basically would highly recommend, as what you opened with.
Mhm,
Basically, if you are stressed out,
mhm.
especially when it comes to work,
Yeah.
and it is affecting your health, that is a really bad trade, because
Right.
trading your health for your career is not worth it. Because,
Mhm.
think about the last time, any of your listeners, think about the last time that you were really, really sick with the flu, whatever it happens to be.
Mhm.
Did you feel like doing anything other than lying in bed? Probably not.
No.
And when all you can do is lie in bed and you have no energy to do anything else, you're no good to your business. You're no good to your job, your career,
Right.
the people who you love that are in your life. You're no good to
Mhm.
any of them.
That's
So
right.
don't take your health for granted.
Yeah, you only get one body. You can always make more money and make new friends. So I love that. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much, Professor P. Alexander. Appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Doug, thank you so much for having me on the show. And again, thank you to the listeners for their time as well.
You bet. All right. That concludes an episode of the Author Brand Show. You're going to want to take notes. And if you didn't, you can click below and get them along with Dr. Alexander's books. Enjoy it and have a great day.